Alright, greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen. Let's say we change it up, starting out in episode 9 here, with a good old-fashioned Speedway. Because we haven't done anything like that yet. Or not in this session anyway, we haven't done one of these for a while. And it's here where I must bring up a factoid. Let's take a peek at our guidebook real quick. I already mentioned how I found that Zephyr kind of drags on a bit too long. But guess what? We're only 3 levels into this world, this second hub world, and it's already felt like as long as a summer forest so far. And it feels like it's gone on pretty long, and we're only like halfway through it, because for some reason, the second hub world has by far the most stages in it out of the entire game. If you go back to Spyro 1, there were 6 hub worlds, and each of them had, the hub world was its own stage, and hub world was its own stage, there were 3 regular stages, and then there was a flight stage as well. And for some reason, when we got over to Spyro 2, they decided to take roughly the same amount of stages. I think Spyro 1 may have had like 1 or 2 extra stages compared to this. They decided to take all of that same amount of content and cram it into 3 hub worlds instead, which is kind of baffling because the theme that they, like, usually hub worlds in Spyro have a theme. In the first game it was like themed after like the careers of the dragons that lived there. In this game it's themed after the seasons, just like Season of Ice does. And for, you know, obviously when it comes to the seasons there are 4 seasons, but in this game there are only 3 hub worlds, which means you've got to take 6 hub worlds worth of content, roughly, with minus a level or 2, and distribute it amongst 3. But for some reason they decided to put most of the stages in the second one, and put almost no stages, like comparatively much fewer stages, in the third hub world. And the reason for that, I think, is that there was originally going to be a 4th hub world. There was originally going to be a spring hub world, is what is my working theory. I have no evidence for any of this. For all I know, they're always planning to have 3 hub worlds, and I'm full of shit, but who knows? Bear with me for a second. They were originally going to have 4 hub worlds, but for whatever reason, the game was rushed and they couldn't finish all the levels they wanted to put in the game. So they cut one of the hub worlds, but maybe one of the bosses too. And actually, I'm pretty sure maybe you were supposed to fight Ripto twice, and you'll see why in a later cutscene that I might think that. You were originally supposed to fight Ripto twice in a 3rd hub world, and then fight him again in the 4th. But for whatever reason, they didn't have enough time to finish the game, and they ended up going with this instead. By the way, I beat it fast enough to get my skill point, so we don't have to redo this again. All we have to do is the minigame. And I'm fairly certain that must be what happened, because I can't think of any reason why. Like, let's look back here. World 1 has quite a few stages. Might be mistaken on this point. Let me double check real quick. Alright, I've done some number crunching, and the thing is I can't show off all these levels yet because they haven't shown up in the guidebook yet. I'll be sure to come back to that. But I have run the numbers.
We've been having a crime problem here in Metro Speedway, but I think you might be able to help. A band of cat burglars have been raiding my re-election funds by scaling the walls of the buildings. Would you be willing to help get rid of them?
We'll go ahead and help him real quick.
Great! The hunter has been able to knock the scoundrels off of the buildings, but we need you to catch the loot before it lands in the canal and is lost. The hunter is waiting for you outside. Good luck!
Alright, so here are the numbers, and, you know, real quick, what this, minigame, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a lot like the first minigame with Hunter in the Speedways. First time we were flying around through rings, basically just following after Hunter. This minigame adds an additional sort of step to it, where we're flying after Hunter, but this time we've got to catch, he'll shoot these little guys in the walls, and they will drop money bags, and we've got to pick up the money bags before they fall into the ocean below, and then that's the challenge. So, little mechanical challenge, I don't mind that at all, that's always fun. Always a good use of these side quests to basically take things you would do in the normal gameplay and recontextualize them and make them challenging in a new kind of way. And if they hit the ground, you lose, so careful about that. Even so, this minigame is pretty easy. It's pretty difficult to fuck it up. And I say that, and I'm probably gonna screw up just because Let's Play curse and whatnot. Like, that last bay can hit the water.
Well done. You really taught those crooks a lesson.
And that's it. So in terms of the numbers I was talking about earlier, Summer Forest has 9 realms in it, including the hub world, which is already much, like, almost twice as big as a Spyro 1 hub world right off the bat. But Autumn Plains has 12 levels, including Autumn Plains itself, which is like almost like 2.5 times as many as a Spyro 1 hub world. Did I reboot? Did I restart the timer? Yes, I did. Okay. Wow, it's already been like 8 minutes. Damn. The third hub world in Spyro 2 has 8 levels in it, including the hub world. As you can see, this is the second Breeze Builder and Land Blubber stage in the game.
Please excuse our mess, Spyro. We are currently suffering from a land blubber infestation. First they put out the fires on our boilers, and now they've shut down our ship, too. If you could stoke up the fires under the boilers, I'm sure you could make your way to the ship. The steam from the boilers will activate our highly advanced machines.
I just realized I have my recording set to 60 FPS. Of course I did. See, part of the reason I redid this was because I was annoyed that I had it set to 60, but because for some fucking reason, it can't be automatic. And believe me, I fall into this trap more often than I should. Guess I'll have to stop the recording at some point to at least make half of the session 30 FPS like it ought to be. Whatever. I have enough hard drive space for it. I'll probably just leave it, because evidently that's what the Fates want. Fate wants me to record this in 60, even though the game runs in 30. So whatever. I got the game ran in 60, then yeah, I'd want it in 60, but otherwise it's just a waste of hard drive space, you know what I'm saying? Unless if you've produced video, you have no idea how much HD 60 video takes up. But anyways, part of the reason why I really like the Breeze Builder Land Blubber dynamic is that you're not really sure who the bad guy is, necessarily. Who the villain of the story is. And really, it's suggesting that it's both of them and neither of them. It feels like there's some kind of misunderstanding underlying this whole thing. I would have liked it if the game went more into that, like maybe, I don't know, one of them played a practical joke on the other and then that snowballed into this all-out war. That would have been really interesting, but unfortunately they don't do anything with that. I don't know, I like, this is one case, like I remember saying earlier in the playthrough that you should get used to seeing a lot of the same species reappear across the worlds, like the, yeah, what the fuck are they called? The monks and the workmen from Colossus and Idle Springs look the same except for like their skin tone and outfit.
Those land blubbers have littered these metal spike mines all over the harbor. If you can clear them out, I'll give you this orb I found in a clam yesterday.
By the way, I just want to remind you, the folks at home, Ripto has nothing to do with the land blubbers invading the stage. Just want to throw that out there. Drop that breadcrumb. These breadcrumbs will make a tasty chicken nugget coating eventually, trust me. Hang on to those breadcrumbs, there's a payoff, I promise. Most of you probably know what it is, but, you know, I'm gonna keep you in suspense anyway. But, yeah, like... I probably said everything I need to say about that. Now I can't remember what I was talking about earlier, but, yeah. Oh yeah, now I remember. Summer Forest has had... see, 9 levels, including the hub world. This hub world, Autumn Plains. Summer Forest had 9. Autumn Plains has 12 levels in it, including the hub world. So the hub world itself has stuff to collect in it, so I'm counting it. And then the last hub world in the game, spoilers, there's a third one, only has 8. It has less than the first one. And honestly, that's more than I remembered it having, but still. means that the longest chunk of the game is in the middle for some reason. And keep that in mind.
Spyro. Here's that orb I promised. Sorry if it still has clam juice on it.
By the way, I hope you've noticed so far that I don't think we've played a single level in this hub world so far that's had a ladder on it. Just throwing that out there. The ladder did not need to be an unlockable ability because it doesn't really get used cleverly like one. But I digress. So basically what that means is this middle chunk of the game is by far the longest. By the way, the central task that we're doing in the stage is basically the land blubbers have invaded and they have put out the fires. So what we've got to do to beat the stage is we got to kill the land blubbers first and then relight the fires. It's kind of like Crystal Glacier, where if you try to light the fires before killing the enemies, they'll just come behind your back and undo it. So kill the enemies first, then light the fires, and then by lighting the fires, you reactivate the machinery that allows you to continue to progress in the stage. So this is a fun level. There's no backtracking in it, so that automatically makes it good by comparison to some other stages. We have yet to play the worst levels in Spyro 2, by the way. We can't go any further in there until we kill a couple more enemies and get their spirit particles, but because we will only have to come to this level once, spirit particles aren't offensive in this stage. Yeah, there's this guy wandering around in the bucket. Make sure you kill him first. The bucket guys are adorable, by the way. I'll light this, and then the other guy will come coming, I assure you. Or not. I guess it's only the bucket guys that walk around. And now that we've lit this, we've killed enough enemies to reactivate our portal and get the talisman for the stage. Because remember, we need all the talismans, which means you cannot skip any of these levels and come back to them later when you have the head bash. Just keep that in mind.
Thanks for getting our ship fired up, Spyro. Now we can proceed with our counterattack on Zephyr. Please take this talisman as a token of our gratitude.
Now, I do have to admit, complaining about how many levels there are in a hub world is nitpicking. It's not a huge problem for Spyro 2. But I do think that compared to Spyro 1, which had 6 hub worlds that evenly distributed all the stages, and compared to Spyro 3, where you had 4 hub worlds that, you know, evenly distributed the levels, Spyro 2 feels like it really gets bogged down in the middle chunk. Because there's too many levels in Autumn Plains, when they could have easily been moved along to either of the other hub worlds. Like, you probably could have put Skilo's Badlands and Crystal Glacier in the first hub world, realistically. There's no ladder. It's not really that difficult a stage in general, either of them. None of the minigames are all that challenging. You probably could have put it there. Or even better, you could have had a 4th hub world so that... Because with Spyro 1, even though the theming always felt really samey across levels in a hub world, it always felt like it was changing things up in terms of that, just often enough to stay interesting the whole way through.
How lucky for me that you came along. My machinery is broken, and the gears I need to repair it are scattered all over the tracks. Could you hop on that trolley up there and get them?
Now, to shift back to positives for at least a minute, I do know that there are a lot of people out there who do not like this minigame right here. And to be fair, it is the punishment for failure is kind of steep. Basically, we're going around on these tracks and you have to collect these gears. And by collecting the gears, we basically, you know, get an orb, essentially. And I actually don't mind this minigame. I know that my friend TGX hates this minigame. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember exactly. By the way, I make fun of TGX, but he is a very good reviewer. His 12 Days of TGX Marathon was impressive, and it is something that I would never have the foresight to plan myself, because I'm lazy and don't publish videos nearly often enough. So, that's what I mean by that, but... Still, like, the amount of work that went into that little 12 Days of TGX Marathon is admirable, and you guys should all go check out TGX, because he's a smart guy and makes very thoughtful reviews. Now, that said, I do know that he's not personally a fan of this minigame, and that's why. If you fuck up, you have to do the entire thing all over again. But thankfully, it's not a very difficult minigame, in my opinion, if you're paying attention. Like, the problem there is that I got hasty and slammed into a wall from the side. If you're patient and pay attention, you should beat this, and you could easily beat this in your first try on a first playthrough. It's only if you're hasty and are not paying attention that you'll fuck up, which is how it should be, you know what I'm saying? It should be that, you know, it's a fun, like, part of the problem with a lot of minigames, like, my main criticism so far has been that there was no challenge to the minigame. You know, like, the Snow Leopard minigame, there was no challenge there. The Thief Electricity Orb minigame, there was no challenge there. Like, you know, that's been the common thread in a lot of my criticisms so far. And the Trolley minigame is a decent challenge in my opinion. Like, you've got to pay attention and time your butt presses correctly. And, you know, the challenge itself isn't unfair in any way. It does go on a little bit long, but it's only like a minute and a half, so it's not like it's that big of a deal if you screw it up. So this is actually, in my opinion, one of the best minigames in the game, if I'm being honest. I don't have anything against the trolley ride minigame. I think it's one of the best minigames in the game.
That was great work, Spyro. Now I can start fixing my machines. Here, I don't have room in my toolbox for this thing anymore.
So grab this orb. Now all we have left... See how much quicker this has been than Zephyr? This level's like half as long as Zephyr, and they're like brother and sister levels. So I really don't understand why we needed the Calyx and the... I don't know, I've talked about that for way too long. Did I get the talisman yet? Yes, I did. And you might have noticed that he said he was gonna do his that the breeze builders were gonna counterattack Glimmer. Cause like the... You know, to give credit to those wacky intro cutscenes that I don't really like all that much in the grand scheme of things. They do set up the breeze builders as the sympathetic ones. Like, they make the land blubbers look like assholes, and the breeze builders look like people who just wanna, you know, make their machines work. And then it turns out, spoilers, they're just as bad as the land blubbers, and they're preparing a counterattack and whatnot. There's the chest I didn't break earlier. And we'll break him. I should have gotten this earlier, by the way. I made more backtracking for myself by not getting it to begin with. And hopefully I can backtrack this way, or else I get to go all the way around, and that would suck. That would fucking suck! No, thankfully I can go back this way, thank goodness. So I will appreciate that, and that should be the last of the gems in the stage, pretty sure. Yep, there we go. No skill point. So we're done, we can leave, and we can see this this cute little scene. And yeah, like, that was cute. I wasn't funny, but it was kind of cute. I'll give those cutscenes credit, because the little land blubbers in the buckets are adorable and I want a plushie. But yeah, we still got some time left, so maybe we can... Sorry. There we go. So now we can explore some of the rest of Autumn Plains, because I haven't really gone up to the upper level just yet. And yeah, this is by far the biggest hub world in the game, and the third hub world is by far the smallest. So I don't know why there couldn't have been a spring hub world along with this. I don't know why we needed to have so many levels crammed into you know, so few hub worlds. That is a nitpick, but still, it's just, it makes the... What I've discovered increasingly more and more over the years that, you know...
Oh, Spyro, hello! I was just having trouble with this door, and I think some orb power might unstick it. I see you've collected a good number of orbs there.
You only need 8. And I have no idea how many orbs you need to fight the final boss. It's probably a ridiculously small number. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you need almost all of them.
I can let you into the little castle over there in exchange for a few gems. What do you say? No one's been through that portal in years. I thought I'd never find a sucker. I mean, you're a shrewd customer, Spyro.
And he's not, there's a reason why nobody's been to that level in so long, and that's because it's one of the worst levels in the game. And we will have plenty of time to talk about why Shady Oasis sucks later on. Comparatively speaking, at least. When compared to some other games, I'm sure it's a decent enough level by comparison, but compared to anything in Enter the Dragonfly, it's art. But by this game's standards, it's definitely the worst level in the game. Easily, no question. But I seem to change my mind about that.
I would love to let you enter the Speedway free of charge, Spyro. Love to. Unfortunately, the Speedway rules require me to charge a small fee. You've chosen wisely. I bet a quick dragon like you will win your money back in no time.
Alright, so there we go. We've opened that prattle. And... we probably got too much of this hub world left to squeeze it into the rest of the part. So join me next time in part 10. We will continue finishing off Autumn Plains and then probably go to the rest of the stages after that. So till then, I'm Exo and I'll see you guys next time.